Vivian asked me the first question, what do you think the flavor of the show is? Mine was, this show is dirty, used, and old. And the reasons I really like this show is that if you don't heed history, history will repeat itself. Karma, redemption, and fate all dance in a potentially fatal tango. And everything's connected in some shape or form. And that's something I really brought into my props. My concept for the show is hiding in plain sight. Because we have everything so open, everything has to be on stage at one time. So a lot of what Carolyn's giving me with the colors, I'm going to bring into the props so we can have it on stage. And nobody will think, oh, that's a wheel right there that's going to become a steering wheel. Or that's a lizard right there until the thing shoots out at you and is hissing and being scary. Things will be embedded into the lake bed, the surrounding areas, and as they get removed. It's all abandoned materials that have either sunk to the bottom of the lake or have been abandoned in the ghost town. The boys are stuck with a lot of leftovers, food and water or tools, so they aren't given very much. And what they are given is pretty horrible, barely enough to survive. The colors that I started to look at was more for the juxtaposition of the 1890s versus now. In the 1890s, things will have a little bit more color. It'll be a little bit nicer. The town hasn't gone to its dark place yet. Whereas everything in the now will be covered in dirt. Jocelyn has a great solution for our dirt that we're going to be trying later. The stuff. So here's some visuals that I've been looking at. Sam's cart is something that's really important to me that I think we can use for a lot of our history. So I went ahead and started looking into the 1890s, 1900s shops so we can see what that looks like. Talking to Miss Vivian, what we've come up with is like a three-tiered cart that's very low. It's also something that's brought on his boat. So the oars are inserted in the sides and those will be the handles. They'll be very low. And we can have onions and all kinds of fun jars and stuff in there. The sunflower seed sack is 20 pounds, and one thing I like about history repeating itself, I found one from the Barlow Seed Company, and that's what I plan to be using. The containers are used, lost items that have been found, old juice bottles, maybe an old bleach bottle is somebody's container. The container sizes will go basically in rank of how the guys are. So one kid will have the biggest and Stanley will be stuck with the leaky tiny one. Stuff like that. Looking at the lizards, we're going to be building off a Komodo dragon, but we're going to take different parts of a horned-toed lizard and a scaly lizard. When you look at these things, you think, maybe I wouldn't want to touch those. They're going to be the colors of the rock with slight yellow dots and stuff on them. They're going to have lots of sharp spines and claws. They will not be friendly lizards. So here's some more of those. Stuff embedded in the mud and dried nastiness. And just other embedded things. That's what I have.
Okay, hi. I'm doing the sound, and I don't have any sound for you to hear right now because you all will probably be seeing me a lot over the next few weeks. I'll be popping into rehearsals and probably sitting in a corner with a headphone up to my ear, clicking on a computer, and running stuff in my earphones first before it gets introduced to you guys. So sound will be getting slipped in as we go. Basically, the main thing for me, there's effects through this whole thing that help to ground the play, I guess. The reality of the play, like for instance, when Sam is rowing his boat, we need to signify that there's actually water there, and the sound will do that because we obviously aren't going to flood the set with water. No cool liner on the set. And we have to take out the extra seats, and we wouldn't be able to sell any seats. All right. So certain things like that, crickets, lizards, but we'll get to see those. So mainly some of the town ambience that are going on where you all will be doing your stuff, but then we want to imagine a larger set of people as well around. So it's mainly filling in those moments of reality to make them more believable to the audience. Even though visually what we're seeing is much more mystical and magical and interesting and fun. The other flip side of that is music. And we have so many, we have these three distinct locales, or actually we have more than that, but we have the contemporary time that Stanley and all the boys are in, and then we have the oldsy timesy west town of, of Green Lake, not Camp Green Lake, Camp Green Lake, the town of Green Lake, and then of course Latvia, which are three very different musical worlds. And one of the things that we talked about initially in our design meetings was this collision that happens amongst these worlds throughout the timeline. And so the music is going to reflect that, where hopefully by watching you all do your process and craft, I will find those moments where we where we hear that collision, where maybe some hip hop runs into some old dobro music and just overlaps and takes those two moments and fuses them together. Stuff like that. It'll be fun to watch you guys do what you do and inspire me. So yeah, that's good.
Person is not here this evening because Mr. Eric Morris, who is our lighting designer for the production, lives in South Carolina. He teaches at USC. He's a productions manager / lighting designer / assorted other things for the University of South Carolina. And he and I had a large conversation on Friday, and I think I've mentioned some of the key elements to you that we're striving for, because we know that the sun and the relentless heat are two things that I'm interested in letting the audience be aware of. And no, we are not going to turn the heaters up extra hot, because we don't want them uncomfortable, so uncomfortable that they leave. But we do want to give that sense of sunshine. So he and I were talking about taking lights that are in the corners of the proscenium here, which will come out and glare into the audience's eyes. Many of you are used to going to a blackout between scenes. Well, we're going to a blind out between scenes, so that it is this flash which allows you the time to jump forward in time, because we've talked a lot about the blinding flashes happen for Stanley's time in 2009 when he's moving forward in time. We get that blinding flash. The switches between camp and town are more subtle in what they do. The holes. You looked at Miss Carolyn's set. Anything to dig there? Anything to take out holes? No. Our holes are light. They are shafts of light coming straight down on the floor. The deeper your hole gets, the stronger that light gets, and the lighter or darker, I guess it is actually, the rest of the world becomes. It's a true challenge for Eric, because we're digging in the daytime, so it should still be bright, but yet I need the floor dark with your bright holes, which is when that large cyc and sky comes into play, keeping that light upstage, so we become almost silhouetted against things. It's a very stylistic show in a lot of ways, so we'll be pushing you to find the stylizations in your movement, in your vocal qualities of what you do. The play is also a lot about stillness. We will be studying the art of stillness, how to be active yet still on stage as we move the show forward. I'm really getting really excited about it, especially now having these things shared. Is there any other design element that we've left out? Because we've talked about stage management teams already and marketing materials. Would you guys like to say a little bit about that? We did sort of. But
Well, a little bit